welcome
Thank
to
you.
Country Music News International. My name is Nigel Sharpe, and I am talking to Katie Linendoll this evening. And I guess really we should be talking about music, but I've got to tell everybody out there that you do an awful lot of other things besides music, and it was just crazy trying to do some research on you, because as soon as you started sort of looking up some stuff about Katie Linendoll, it would take you sort of to different places and different things you've been getting up to over the years. So we'll get to the music in a minute, but I've got to ask you a couple of things. Why did you end up in the Blue Lagoon in Iceland?
Well, actually, I'm going to flip the script on you for 2 seconds, because
Okay.
I have watched so many of your interviews.
You have?
And I can't help to notice, yes, you have an awesome United States Army retired hat. And can I thank you for your service? Is that is that your hat, or tell me the backstory?
Yeah, there is a story behind this hat.
It's awesome.
I'm from London in England. I'm an Englishman living in Germany.
I can tell.
And the reason I came to Germany was to play country music on the American bases. And I spent 20 years doing that throughout the 80s and the 90s. And I loved it. I loved working with and for Americans, and particularly for American service people. And there's something else, actually, I think that we have in common. You come from a military family.
I do. And they, both my sister and my dad, proud military family, they were both
Right.
stationed in Germany.
And my father was, he ended up the directory music for the British Army.
Oh,
So
wow.
I grew up, around the British military.
Huh.
So I have a lot of kind of connection with military personnel, service people. And I feel a great kind of bond with them.
Yes.
Although I've never served myself. So I haven't served either in the British Army, and I never served in the American Army, although I did work with them for a good long period of time. Anyway, sorry, get back to the hat.
I love it. Well, you didn't finish it though. Who gave you the hat?
Let me finish the story then. Well,
Yeah.
so by the time I finished playing on the American bases, which is when the American forces kind of drew down and everybody went home, I was working with 3 other guys who were all serving military personnel. And the guy who ran the band eventually went back home to the States and retired to Kansas, which is where he lives now.
Mhm.
So he's a veteran from the United States Army, and this is his hat. So what he did was he made this hat, or he had it made up for him with the United States Army badge. And then he had this embroidery put on. So it's retired underneath the cap badge. And on either side are all the posts where he was stationed at throughout his military career.
I love it.
So I was in Kansas visiting him in 2018. We had a kind of band reunion. We played a couple of gigs, and he was wearing this hat. And I said, "Rick, I'm sorry, but you've got to give me that hat." And Rick, being Rick, because he's a very kind and generous person, just gave me the hat. And I treasure it. I really do, because it brings back so many good memories of what I used to do back in the day. And we are constantly in contact. We're just good friends. He calls me his right-hand man, because I was the kind of musical director of the band, but he was the front man. He was the singer.
I love that story. And literally a man that would give you the clothes off of his back.
He
truly.
would. He
And
really
he did.
would. And that was the other thing that I liked, looking at your website and all this stuff.
Yeah.
You're also involved in charity work for veterans and retired police dogs and military dogs, which is great. I like that.
Yeah, and I'd love to talk about that. I don't know if now is a good time and I could share a little bit more, but it's a big part of what I do, especially in the music space, is philanthropy is my favorite part of what I get to do in my life and who I am, and extending that to others. And the the first EP that I put out had a song called Jericho Battle Cry, which is one of my favorite songs that I've ever written. And 100% of the proceeds for Jericho Battle Cry actually went to Bugles Across America, which is a nonprofit organization that a lot of people don't realize. You know, my grandfather was a Marine and he had passed. You hear that sound of taps at a military funeral, and it's so, I call it hauntingly beautiful. I think the Bugles team had used that, and I thought that was really well put. Hauntingly beautiful is the sound of taps. And a lot of people don't realize that there's a shortage of buglers and trumpeters to play taps at military funerals. So this nonprofit, I think they've done over, 2 million hours of volunteer time to date, supplying buglers and trumpeters to play taps at veterans' funerals. And I thought, wow, what a beautiful cause. So 100% of all my profits from that song and all the merchandise, and then also private donation, have went to Bugles Across America. So proud military and also law enforcement family. And Renaissance Lady, which we'll chat about today, my latest single, supports Hurricanes Heroes, which is a canine, 100% nonprofit, 100% volunteer-based nonprofit. And it supports retired canines with veterinary subsidized care. So a lot of people don't realize when our little canine heroes, I should say little, our big and tough canine heroes, they retire, they often are taken in by their handlers who love them and is their best friend, but their medical support is typically not covered. So it falls on the handlers. So Hurricanes Heroes supports those retired canines and helps them with medical care. So it's been, and I can talk for hours about Hurricane, who is a highly decorated Secret Service former dog who stopped a White House intruder in 2014. But when I met him and I just learned more about the canine culture, I love it. I love the dogs. They're so disciplined. They're so obedient, and they love to work, and they're heroes. And I'm so proud that this song, Renaissance Lady, supports them and also just shares in my press endeavors about them. For anyone that didn't know, what a canine is or what they do and how they help in the military and in law enforcement.
Yeah. So we've been to the Blue Lagoon in Iceland.
Yes. Oh my gosh. And then I got you off topic. So it's on me. Yes, Iceland is one of the countries that I've traveled probably the most to the point where I was doing I was going there for fun. And then I started doing work hits for there. I work in the media, and I was doing a lot of science and technology hits specifically for the Weather Channel, which is one of the networks that I work for. And I was going to Iceland so much that I was going to the rental car facility in Reykjavik, which is the main city. And they're like, "Oh, hey, Katie, how's it going?" And I was like, "Oh my gosh, like that's how much I'm here." They know me by name at the rental car facility. And I love to travel by myself, by the way. Like I will go and take a journey across the globe and like fully content, like just being in my own head and hanging out with myself. Like I enjoy just like my own introverted independence. So I have gone there so many times in the Blue Lagoon, which is such a iconic place to visit in Iceland. It is a geothermal spa that many people know that it's just it's truly, no pun intended, a hotspot to visit when you're in Iceland. It's legendary and absolutely worth a visit because it's so cold outside, but yet you have this geothermal heated, amazing, and it's supposed to be good for your skin, and you just you're wading in this pool, and there's also like a little bar in the middle of it so you can get a beverage. Place is off the charts. So one of the neatest places in my journeys across the globe.
And so the other area where I don't know if it's where you're most well known in the States, is this kind of presenting consumer technology to people. Is that your kind of main area of expertise?
Yeah, it is. I am best known in the media space for technology. And I started when I was in tech when I was about 12, 13 years old. And then I went on to get my degree in IT and became, technology when I was little wasn't as like prominent and as cool and as big and grandiose as it is now. And over the years, there just became this demand on television to showcase the latest cool gadgets and technologies. And I became one of those go-to individuals to just be on the precipice of always what's new and what's next. And that's what brought me across the globe a lot too, doing reports all over in different various countries. And it's been really neat. Like I really genuinely love tech, and my journey through technology for over 20 years has been, it's exciting. It's really crazy.
Yeah. So ESPN, there's another thing. Now I actually, being a good British person that I am, I love my cricket and my rugby. And if I'm following cricket games all around the world, it's the ESPN Crick Info website that I visit. Did you ever have anything to do with that?
That's so funny, because I'll share a story that I never shared. So when I first started at ESPN, you would be assigned different games. Okay. So like I started literally from the ground up in the media world. And again, it like goes back to our like better off for it, because it builds so much character and you get so much understanding and you can be multitasking and help people out now on the road when I need to step in. But I started as a production assistant from the very bottom. And your first job was to get assigned, like I was saying, games. So you'd have an NBA game or an NFL game or tennis or golf. Someone had cricket or someone had rugby, and we had no idea how to score that. And you had to do it like play by play, and you had to turn in a highlight, right? Like a 2-minute recap. And you'd be like, oh gosh, please don't get like, you would hope, because we didn't grow up with cricket. You know what I mean? It was a long shot just to get lacrosse. So you would be hoping that you would be like, and if you did get like cricket, you'd have like 3 of your friends being like, dude, you need to like throw me a bone here and help me out, like figure this out, this highlight out. Because it was just so, when you don't grow up with that sport, I mean, of course I respect it, but you have no idea what's going on and you're trying to make a highlight for the world to see. Oh, now there's probably experts that are cutting those tapes, not me.